All right, listen. This episode of Daddy Look at Me, we're going to talk about why parents just don't understand.
Parents just don't understand. I always understand, Doc.
All right.
Don't I? What's your face all tore up for?
My face ain't tore up.
Yeah,
it was.
what we say makes sense to us, but it don't make sense to them. Or does it? Like, okay, so let me ask you. Is there something that you feel that frustrates you?
About me.
Well, not just about him, but what you feel he doesn't get or we don't get as parents. Okay, we kind of need y'all to talk.
Yeah.
Like that's
I
kind
mean,
of
this show is about y'all
it's-
and us, not
it's
just about.
not the listen show. It's kind
it's
of
a
like
talk show.
interaction. No, she doesn't have answers for you. Okay. I mean, just make it. Is there something that you feel like I just never get, no matter how many times you try to bring it up, you know what? I'm not even gonna bring it up to you because I know you don't get it. You don't understand it.
You just always lecture or you give me a book. So it's like, I'll just keep it to myself. I don't want to read a book.
Okay. Well, let me explain to give you a book.
Wait, hold on. Before you explain that, you also, I don't give you the books, do it. But what do I do?
Lecture.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I lecture. I'm not.
You do lecture.
No.
Motivational speak.
Yeah. Motivational. Speech.
Okay. So y'all both saying lecture. You saying a book. What? Well, I give books because you don't want me. You think everything is a lecture, but
Well, sometimes you just shouldn't do anything. Just say, okay. Not give me your feedback, not a whole lecture.
That's dumb.
Or a book to read.
so if you come to me and you express something to me,
That you have the answer for.
yeah, and I feel like I got the answer, right? And I should just
Shut up.
yeah.
That don't make no sense.
No, just keep it short, sweet, and simple.
If I keep it short, sweet, and simple, I'm cool with that. How do we know if you is that how you feel too? Or you don't want to hear nothing?
No, I mean, I don't mind them. They just sometimes come at unfortunate times. Like when I'm about to go to bed and then...
Get up. Right.
Come
Get up,
on,
Anna.
Come on in this room.
Right.
Yeah, so unfortunate times they come when I'm like about to go to sleep.
But you know that's strategic, right?
Knowing you,
Yeah.
I would assume it is.
Yeah, because she's all relaxed.
You know how strategic your dad is? That everything he does, he thinks out. Like, okay.
She done something, and I know she done it, and she's getting ready to think she got away with it. She's getting ready to lay in a nice little bed, go to sleep.
I just be about to go to sleep.
And I'll be waking her straight up, like, get up.
The strategy in that is?
I don't know. If I ain't comfortable, you ain't gonna be comfortable.
If I'm upset.
If I'm upset, everybody upset.
Okay, so you said, so your thing is, hey, come on. Just, if you want to tell me like at 6. So your thing is, just make it short. I can get what you're saying. And you know what? I own that. Maybe part of why I feel like I'm lecturing is because I'm not getting any clues
that you're getting it.
That you're home.
Or maybe if it's something happy, you don't need to ruin it and lecture me.
What do you mean
But
happy?
if it's something that like I come to you for advice, then I want to be lectured.
I'm confused.
There's a lot in there.
Like, she comes to you for advice, but why do you feel lectured?
Yeah, how do I ruin it? Oh my God! You always have to ruin everything. That's
what she says?
It's been said.
She just rolls her eyes.
Well, she'll do both.
That much.
Man, come on. Stop playing.
Not anymore.
You tripping.
I try not to. Sometimes they honestly roll on their own. I'm not even kidding right now.
You got an automatic eye.
I'm not even
She
kidding.
got a-
Sometimes they'll roll on their
So this you? Hey, so
she got a switch. She got a switch.
I mean, like, come on. You
All right,
see that?
She got an autopilot.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Sometimes I don't even know I be rolling my eyes. He'd be like, "Don't roll your eyes," and I'm like, "I didn't know I was."
Yeah, you.
I just think I'm looking at you. I don't.
Up there, right?
I can't feel my eyes.
I'm
be
here,
rolling.
right?
I can't.
So I want to touch base on what you said about how do I ruin it? Obviously, you're expecting one response out of me, but you're getting something totally different. So how do I ruin it?
If I tell you something I'm happy then you just lecture me, or you just give negative.
Okay, you don't have to do that. 'Cause now
She all
we
up
all
here.
in the red
Like
now.
about the phone, then you just ruin it.
You got to tell them about the phone. You
Well,
got to tell
let's
them
talk
what
about
you're
the
talking
phone.
about.
I told him I found this iPhone that I want, and then you're just like, how much is it? Is it good? Is it reliable? And I'm just like, I told you I found a good phone. You're just ruining it for me. Just being negative. You just can't
Is
be
it
happy
good?
for
Is it
me.
reliable? What are you talking about?
You weren't there. You don't know how he said it. Even mom was like,
No, I'm on your side. You didn't just went off on me.
See?
I'm on your side.
Well, okay. By asking you that, as a dad,
He's an Android fan. That's probably what it is.
see, Apple haters. That's what's happening right now. As a dad, I'm just asking the questions just to say, hey, it's almost like if you come, hey, Dad, I found a car that I really want to get, or I'm going to get, and I'm like, okay, these are things that you want to make sure that you think about. That's all it is.
She's spending her money.
She's spending her money.
Oh, I wouldn't even care. You can. It can be a brick when you get lesson learned.
Well, yeah, I'm not totally there with it, but I understand. And see, that's a challenge for us as dads. Y'all have some kind of expectation on how y'all want us to respond. Yes or no?
Going into a conversation.
Going into a conversation. So, with this idea of us not understanding, or parents just don't understand, you know where we get the title from? Parents just don't understand?
Yeah, Will Smith.
Yeah.
The Will Smith joint. So, how are we supposed to know what y'all expect in that moment?
It's quiet as
I'm just saying,
kept.
that's a fair question. How should we know?
in what moment?
Like
when
when
you
you come to us about something, you're coming to us with an expectation on how we should respond already. But how do we know what that expectation is?
You just try your best.
So wait a minute, hold on. So you in school, you in a class, and you have no idea what's an A. He's like, excuse me, what is an A? Like, how do we know what we got? How many do we have to get right? Just try your best.
You look at your teacher like she was nuts.
How would you feel about that? Like you like now let's sweeten the deal a little bit. You need an A in this class. Like you remember how kind of stressed out you were on this last report card where you really wanted to get a certain grade and you was like, ah man, I got a B or whatever. So you need this A. And you go to your teacher and you ask that question. And they just say, hey, just do your best. How would you feel about that?
Would you have any clarity?
I would complain.
Interesting.
You would lecture him?
No, I would complain and ask for a more clear answer.
So why is it then for something that you feel you would need for clarity?
It's
So
different.
What's different about it?
Because to get an A, you have to do certain things. It's straight to the point. Like you do this and you get an A. A conversation, there's so many different routes it can go.
But you already have an expectation.
I have an idea.
You have an ideal route it should go. How is he to know what that ideal route is?
To try to be happy.
Huh?
To be happy.
To be happy. Bobby McFerrin?
no, you got to go with the new Happy.
Oh, Pharrell.
Yeah.
So I went back. My cultural specialist, it don't begin just in hip hop. It starts prior to hip hop.
Right.
So y'all gotta understand, Uncle Sarad, I know about culture from the 1970s all the way through the 2000s and beyond.
The first Happy song.
I'm your guy. That's the first happy song, Bobby McFerrin. The second happy song was
Pharrell joint.
the Pharrell joint.
Yeah, that they would know, So I don't get do you understand what she's saying? Am I not being clear? Like if so,
They don't come to me first of all, so they go to their mom. You looking at me like you didn't say this the last episode.
I'm not. This is my face. I'm just looking at you.
Oh, that's your regular face.
you yelling at me. This is my face. So help me. So the example of you have an expectation. If you were to go to him, it's something you would go to him for. And if your mom ever hit you and asked your father, then oh my God. But you got to go to him, or you tell him something you may really be excited about, or whatever. You have an expectation. Now, in the past, maybe he said something and you're like, oh my God, he has to lecture me. How is it he's supposed to know what your expectation is?
I don't know. He doesn't, I guess.
So why don't y'all tell us, Dad, you know what? When I come to you with certain things,
Or better yet, Dad, I'm about to ask you a question. I don't need you to fix this problem. I'm not looking for a fix. I just need you to hear me. Or a book. Or a lecture. I just need you to hear me. Just listen to me. You spit out whatever you're going to... And I say, okay. You spit out what you spit out. And I just be like, all right. How would that feel?
I'll be like, say something else.
I'm quick.
I can't win for losing out here, man.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We don't know what to say that's going to, and we understand we're not going to always get it right.
We don't want to feel like you're making us feel bad or yelling at us in your speech.
I know he don't yell. Now, she might be able to say that.
Well, not yell with audio.
I don't know what the heck that means.
How do you not yell
audibly?
I mean, with volume.
Oh, so he yells like
how? Like mental telepathy yelling? I don't.
Just with your tone.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
condescending.
So my tone seems to be disapproving.
Yes.
Okay, so this whole idea of us not understanding, what we're trying to get to is we want to. If there's something that we want to share with y'all that we feel that you need to know, we want to know how to be able to communicate that to you. But at the same time, we also want to know how to just listen. Because you got to understand, and this is what this dialogue is more so about, for y'all to understand that we don't always know exactly what to do, how to do it. We doing the best we can. So for example, like with me growing up, my parents were so much older. My dad was, he worked. He was a weekend alcoholic, and you get drunk on the weekends, and so it wasn't no warm. My parents would yell. They would argue and sleep in different rooms. Like how your parents have your parents' room. Mm-hmm. My parents had parents' rooms. He had his bedroom, she had her bedroom. So I didn't grow up exactly in a household where somebody was talking to you and necessarily trying to understand what's going on in your life. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not so sure that I felt like I missed it or I wanted it. Because my sounding board was my friends. Do y'all feel like for y'all, your friends, like that's my go-to? To get answers and tell them how I'm feeling? So for you, Anna, do your friends, do you feel like they give you good advice?
Yeah, sometimes.
Are some of their lives jacked up with boys and stuff? And
yeah.
Do they sometimes make bad decisions with some of that?
And they gonna offer their decisions to you?
Yeah.
That sounds smart.
I don't...
Did you mean to roll your eyes that time, or was that automatic?
That was automatic.
So caught on camera. Girls roll their eyes. So why then?
No, because I need to really drill down that idea that
is a good
you're
point.
going to someone to give you advice, and they haven't solved the problems that you're having, and they're having the same problems that you're having in your life in their life. You're asking for advice on how to solve your problem, but they haven't figured out how to solve the problem for them.
But you're more comfortable going to them as it relates to your problems than you are, in some instances, going to him.
So is it really about the solution, or is it about you just having a sounding board? you having someone to talk to?
Probably sounding bored.
Okay, so is it ever about a solution?
Sometimes.
When are we to know when it's about a solution or it's about being a sounding board?
When you
I'll
say,
tell
what should I do?
Yeah.
Say what?
When you say, what should I do?
When you ask us, so what should I do? So if you don't ask at the end of if you don't say, what should I do? I can be like, all right, I can go back to playing the keyboards or whatever have you. If you don't ask that question, then I'm free to end the conversation. I'm free to assume that you were just using me as a sounding board. You're finished, and you about to get out of my studio, and I can go back to work.
I mean, you can give me your 2 cents.
I'm confused already. So you're going to ask me to give me my 2 cents?
No, I mean, like, you could make a comment, or you don't have to.
I did
What do you mean you did?
when I said okay.
That's not, I mean, like, you can tell me how you feel about it.
We're so confused. See, as dads, this is not.
But you know what? The irony about this, I think this is a man-woman thing. Also, because I have the same conversation with your mom about expectations. Like, I don't know when you want me to do what. If you tell me, hey, I don't know when she's using me as a sounding board or when she wants me to actually solve a problem.
That's a great point.
And typically, as a man, I'm always in problem-solving mode.
Great point.
So I'm going to always, when you come to me, I'm going to always be like, okay, this is what you should do. Boop, 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 boop. I didn't really need all that. I didn't really need all
I
that.
don't do all of that.
All that I didn't really
you
need.
Dance.
No,
I didn't really need all that.
I don't have weave-in, so I'm not patting anything.
Oh, well, you know how y'all do. I didn't really need all that.
What's this?
do all
What's this? The puppet?
I don't know why the ghetto girls be doing.
Don't do it too well.
doing this.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. Like I said, as a man, I'm always in problem solving mode. So when you come to me, I see a solution, I'm gonna give it to you. Unless you tell me you don't want a solution, you just want to be heard. So that's why it's important that you communicate your expected outcomes while you're communicating whatever you want to communicate.
I think if I want someone to be happy for me, I'll go to mom. And if I want someone to solve my problems, I'll go to dad.
See, the inference there is that your dad is not happy for you.
Well, you are. You just
Always
negative about it.
Always. Okay, let's break that. I'm always, which means there's no exception.
Most of the time.
Okay, most of the time. All right. Okay, that's how you perceive me, and I get that. So,
I don't.
Yeah, well, I get her. I get it's her right to perceive what she perceives. So, because I want you to feel like you can come to me and that my dad's gonna be happy for me, and I actually feel like you do. Like there are times when I know you, hey, Dad. You just showed me the phone upstairs. Like, Dad, you want to see my phone?
After you were negative,
But you still
about
came
it.
back, right? And you had excitement in your voice, right?
I suppose.
She was excited. And so you showed it to me, and I'm instantly thinking, okay, she wants to share this with me. And I said, oh, okay, what color is that? And and I asked questions, and didn't I? That's why you got the big Kool-Aid smile, because that's what I did. So it's not always.
Do I do that?
No, mine's kind of the opposite. I'll come for you when I want like someone to be happy, because mom kind of ruins it. Honestly. I come like
It's on camera.
because when I told her about the choir thing, she was like, "Oh, good job, sissy," and then you were like, "Congratulations."
That's my man's right there.
Yeah,
That's my
man,
man's right there.
Hey, man, because I'm telling you, listen, I'm excited more or less. It's like I told you, because we had a little relapse. We got to deal with that on camera. we had a little relapse about a situation. She was supposed to be studying her ACTs, and she told me she was studying them, and I said, okay, so you were studying it? She showed me the little work in the workbook and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, where's the work? It was math, right? So I said, so where's the work that you did to get to these answers? Oh, it's upstairs. I was like, well, go get it. So she went upstairs, and she was upstairs for about 3 minutes.
Now wait a minute, hold on. What you got to understand, if you're concocting a lie of any type, you got to know who your dad was. Like, he was thinking way down the road with the most strategic scheme on how to get in and out of stuff. So if you just an amateur,
you are less than an amateur.
if you are an amateur, it would behoove you just to tell the truth and just say, Dad, listen, whatever, okay.
But check it out. So she goes upstairs, right? And comes back down. No, she goes upstairs. She was upstairs for like 3 minutes. And I'm talking to her little sister. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm telling her. Your sister's lying. And this is how I know she's lying. Because if you did the work, it would take you 5 seconds to go up there and get it and come back down. The fact that it's taking her 3 minutes, meaning she's looking for how to cover the lie she just told. So she comes back downstairs and she has this paper with this work on it. And I'm like, okay. I said, so where's number 1 at? She was like, oh, it's right there. No, I said, this is number 8. She was like, I said, so where's number 1? She's like, number 1 is upstairs. And I'm like, so why don't you bring them both down? Well, go get it. So she goes back upstairs.
You're going to really play up the line.
She playing it up.
Okay. Because now she's trying to figure out how to get it out.
5 minutes later, she comes back downstairs. She was like, well, I don't have it. I threw it away. Listen, I threw it away this morning. Well, when did you do the math? This afternoon.
Dun, 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 dun.
So you did the work this afternoon, but you threw the work away this morning. So long story made short,
you don't have a career.
I caught her in the lie, and I told her again. I was like, listen, you keep inching your way back up the trust ladder, and then you'll fall right back down with just the smallest stupid stuff. So my whole thing, getting back to the subject at hand, is always, I want you to be able to be self-governing, right? I want you to do what you need to do for yourself, those things you want to do, like choir and this, that, and the third. So the congratulations is less about choir. It's more about, I'm excited that you went after something yourself. You had set a goal and you got it, and I'm happy that you set the goal and you got it more than whatever the goal was. Your mom, on the other hand, she's not interested in singing and choir and this, that, those things. So she's only, if you'd have said, I'll give you another case in point. My daughter, my youngest daughter, was running track. Now my wife's whole family ran track. So they're avid track stars. So when my youngest daughter started to run track, your mom got super excited, pushing her. Now here this child is with shin splints
on the crutches.
So she was like, so you going to practice? I'm like, dear, the child got shin splints. You pushing her, you going to push her to break her ankles or something? So that's your mom's angle. Just like if I was you, was tell me about the choir, or you told me about some musical thing, I would be excited about that you were learning how to do that. But ultimately, it's more about, for me, because this whole thing that we're doing here is a way for us to provide you the tools to make proper decisions for your life, right? So when you set a goal, and you know what tools to use to obtain that goal, I get excited about the process, not about the reward. The reward was choir, but the process of you getting there was what I was excited about. Like, she did it. Wow. Boom, boom, boom. So,
but you brought up a good point also when you said we're not just dealing with a father-daughter problem. We're dealing with male-female problems. So, like even with coaching, what I have to teach the women is this is how men think. These are in each sex expects the other one, thinks that they're difficult. Men think women are difficult, don't get it, and vice versa. But what Uncle Sarat said about us trying to prepare y'all for the future, you're going to be married, at some point, and we want y'all to understand and reflect, okay, this is how men are. I remember I was talking to my dad, and I had a certain expectation, but I kind of had to let him know this is what I was looking for because he was going to try to fix it. You'll take that same information into your marriage, and you'll come back hopefully one day reading the books. Yeah, I give her books. She reads books about relationships and stuff because I wanted to know. But you'll come back one day and be like, Dad, I'm so glad that you gave me that because now I know what Harold is thinking.
Harold. That's terrible.
So,
neither of you will ever marry a person named Harold.
But that's the goal.
Bet my life on that.
Our goal is, because we wish somebody would have told us. We wish somebody, he and I talk about it all the time, the mistakes that we've had to make, whether it be financial, whether it be relational, whether it be whatever, that if somebody would have sat down with us like we're sitting down with y'all, we wouldn't have had to have made those mistakes.
And see, you know what's important though? The culture that they're coming from. Y'all coming from a culture. When you see the Love and Hip Hops and you see the Tekashi 6ix9ines and all of these divisive, everybody's fighting everybody. Nobody wants to understand anyone. And it's important that if you're going to be successful in your life, you're going to have to take a proactive approach to understand people that you're dealing with, as well as them trying to understand you. As you speak to us, as we speak to you, we're trying to understand you. You're trying to understand us. But you can't run to your corners and say parents just don't understand. Because then they'll never understand because you're not speaking to them. You're not speaking to us.
And
you know what I'm saying?
And your friends, which is by default where you would go, that's where we went to, my friends didn't know any more than we knew. But I felt safe because they were my friend. And even though they had problems, and you know what, in a weird way, the fact that they had problems made me feel comfortable about my problems. So they couldn't judge me.
Right.
You screwed up too.
And that's a great point, Reed, because one of the things that we as parents must do is begin to tell our faults. Like, I tell them all the time, I'm not going to do everything right. I haven't done everything right. They know I'll tell my daughters all the time, I've been in jail before. Mm-hmm. I ain't got no problem with it. Mm-hmm. Because they need to know that I fouled up. I messed up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they see where we live now and how we live. Right. Obviously, I'm not no jailbird. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Right. But
turned out all right.
I turned out all right. But they know that my dad didn't do everything perfect. So journey. He must not expect me to do everything perfect. I never expect y'all to do everything perfect. But this is what I expect. If you know something and you're aware of it, do what you know. Mm-hmm. You know lying ain't something you should do. So don't lie. Now be scared because she told me. I said, well, why did you lie?
Why did you lie?
What'd you say?
I panicked.
She panicked. So now my job is to...
But the panic was, what was the fear?
I honestly don't really know. Because, after the fact, I didn't think it was that bad. If I just would have said I didn't do my ACTs. Mm-hmm. But it was just, in the moment.
And see, that gives me cues on her personality. Because you know me, I don't panic.
Right.
So now I got to make her like me. Like, okay, there's situations you're going to be in life where everything in your soul is going to want you to panic. You need to be calm. Mm-hmm. You need to think this thing out and do the correct thing. I've been in situations, promise you, where the average person would panic and lose their water, like my grandmother used to say. They would pee on themselves. But because of just the way I've come up, I've always been able to think really quickly. Now, whether that was lying or whether that was doing the right thing, I thought quickly. I don't want you to lie, especially with me and your parents. I don't want you to lie with anybody because I don't think it's necessary. But because you're correct. Had you said, hey, Dad, I didn't do the ACTs today because I had XYZ to do, I had this to do. The worst that would have happened to you is you would have got up from the dinner table and I would say, go study them ACTs. But because you panicked.
And you know what? Unfortunately, or fortunately, that's how we learn. Not just y'all. We make mistakes I mean, we done been
Listen.
on some doozies, you
Listen.
know. And you like, I ain't gonna do that again because of the consequences, you know, because of what the penalty was. And so that is one thing that makes you stop in the moment. When you get that feeling of panic, you think about, wait a minute, I did this before, made a bad decision, and decide to do something different. Now, what I want to ask, with the whole parents just don't understand theme, is there anything that I told you, and you was like, whatever, and you thought I was just talking crazy out my mind, but you came to realize I was right, whether you told me or not, that you was like, wow.
You think about that too. I want that. I want to hear that.
Is there anything? Why
y'all laughing and stuff?
You're funny.
I wasn't.
I don't get
We
it.
weren't trying to be funny.
Okay,
know what
do
you're
I need to
talking
say it in
about.
Spanish? I know you're taking Spanish. Maybe I need to say it. Oh, yeah, but you're going.
That's Wakandian.
Yeah, that's Tom.
That's definitely not
Yeah.
Spanish.
So, is it true? Has that ever happened? Speaking to the mic so everybody can hear you.
Sometimes.
Oh, okay. You
At
got
a
it.
specific time.
You got it. Yeah, I was supposed to say you got an example. Well, you're real uncomfortable.
When it comes,
Is that what she does when she? Is
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
she laughs?
Uncomfortable laugh. Yeah, she laughs. Yeah, everything. But
When it comes to friends, sometimes you can be right.
did you come back and tell me? I was just curious.
I don't remember.
That's when she gets into politician mode. What about you? Is you ever find out something he told you? You thought he was crazy, nuts, whatever. He always on that, and you found out, yeah, wow, he did.
Well, like
He's
back
not stupid.
when like freshman year, when he told me like if you mess up like your grades, then it'll affect you for the rest of high school. And like yeah, I slacked off then, and now I'm struggling to get my GPA back up to where it needs to be to graduate. So
It's harder.
I thought you were a junior.
It's because with that GPA,
The more grades you get, the harder it is to pull it up. Just tell her-
Did you go back and tell him, hey, Dad, wow, you was right when you said that? Any particular reason
Well,
y'all
I mean,
don't come
but
back
here's
and
the-
tell us? I mean, that would not that we just need the ego stroking.
Here's the gamut, though. I know I'm right, so I really don't need you to tell me. But I just wish you learned the first time.
So I think as we wrap this up, the overall thing that we need y'all to understand is we've gone where you're going, and we've made the mistakes. I mean, we made bad mistakes. Your dad said he's been to jail. I mean, he's not gonna sit there and tell you that he had a great time. I mean, it's never for any real length of time, but you don't want to be there for 2 seconds.
No, I ain't never been in no.
Right, he ain't
Let's make
it's
that
not
clear.
no 3 to 5. Let's be clear.
Ain't
A
been no
night,
felonies.
maybe, So, even though, it wasn't that long, and I mean, nobody wants to be in that predicament at all.
Right.
But it was a result of decisions, just things I've done, whatever. And then when it's your child, we don't want that for y'all. We understand that part of y'all got to learn the way y'all learn. To be prepared to be an adult and to separate, be independent, you have to develop the skill of making decisions on your own. And that's the whole process that happens internally, hormonally, and all of that, where you be like, I want to be my own, and why can't you let me? But that's a natural process, and we got to give you room to do that. But in that, just keep in mind that whatever we tell you is for your good. And sometimes we may have to work on putting it in a way that doesn't seem like we're lecturing or just don't understand. Sometimes we do have to just listen, just sit there. And sometimes, even though we know what you're saying is a little nuts, and everything in us, because when you was talking to me about the boy stuff early on, your mom was like, dear, you just gotta listen. And I was like, but dear, I'm trying to bring her up on the game, and so she don't. Dear, I get all of that, but you just gotta listen. And it was a little hard because I just wanted to. And remember, I had to come back to you and apologize because you was like, "Damn, you ruined it. I just wanted to tell you about this thing."
Was you crying?
She was upset, and because you called your mom. And he just starts talking about, you're getting played and you don't do that. And I'm giving you the rules. And okay, if we're doing it, because I'm like, I'm going to get your strategy. You just wanted me to listen.
I
So
need you to be happy for me.
and happy. That's a big thing. Be happy.
Happy
for me.
that you getting played?
No,
No,
she wasn't
I
getting played.
wasn't.
No, I was just trying to bring her up on.
He was just making it negative, like, oh, you're gonna get played.
No,
blah, blah, blah.
to be more accurate, actually, I was saying do these things because
You won't
we
get
don't
played.
want this outcome. But to your point, yes, I should just listen, and then I can find another way to get you that information, which is why I give you the books, because you can read it at your own leisure, get the information, and I don't have to sit there and lecture you. And I come to you.
I'm gonna tell you what we should do. We can be happy for them, but when that boy shows up, I ain't happy for you.
It's bad experience.
This is gonna be a bad experience for you. That I'm happy for you. You found somebody. I don't like you.
You should feel comfortable with that, right?
That's the route
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
going.
think
That's what I'm gonna do. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
when
gonna
it come to prom. Yeah, hey,
Hey, how
baby.
you?
You gotta take
You
all your
look
pictures by
beautiful.
yourself.
do. Right.
Yeah.
You being in
All
two
your
cars.
solo. I thought you went with something.
Y'all be in two cars going down.
Right. Yeah, you're not getting in this car. I don't know what you. Oh, okay. So he walks.
Right.
So that's just the whole point. That we just want y'all to understand that we got your best interests at heart.
We got your back.
And sometimes you gotta communicate. Would y'all promise me this? Hey, Dad, listen. Could you just listen? That y'all can tell us. If you remember, I just want you to listen.
Or I need a problem solved.
Or, oh, I'm so happy. Give us some buzzwords. And then we know, oh, it's happy. I hear happy. Just be happy for
Dad,
me.
I'm excited
Chill.
because.
Yeah. And we'll just listen. Can y'all do that?
And do that for your mama because I ain't the one. I make you happy.
So, all right, we're going to end on that. And, hey, appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
Daddy, look at me.
Daddy, look at me. Peace.